stand at the moment in South Africa with the highest statistics of HIV prevalence in the world. Do we want to be there, or do we want to be much further down the scale?
We had to find a way to communicate with our target audience, which is the youth and young adults of the world, and to convey a message of HIV prevention most effectively.
Khululeka actually informs, educates the youth of South Africa especially about HIV and AIDS and the realities of what is happening out there. It's about true stories, about real people who are living with HIV and AIDS.
Khululeka is a play that we devised to put across those sensitive issues around HIV and AIDS. So Khululeka in itself means free to talk, breaking the silence.
And what we found is that the medium of edutainment works best because it entertains and informs at the same time. And when we discovered the Khululeka play, we realized that this is the perfect channel, the perfect medium, and the perfect message.
We went out to go and interview people who are directly living with, involved with, affected by HIV and AIDS. They told us their stories.
It is about young people, 3 basic characters who are living with the disease, which is HIV and AIDS.
It tells the stories of real people living with HIV/AIDS, and it does so in a way that is extremely emotive. It's honest, it's direct, it's real. It has an ability to penetrate hearts and minds and deliver the message directly because you identify with the characters. They could be you or I, they could be our neighbor, our friend.
The play is effective as a teaching method in this way that the message was sent in a form of dramatization, and normally when we see things we tend to remember them better.
The story reached out to the young people by simplifying it, making them see that yes, HIV and AIDS is real, but what are you doing about it? Is it in your hands? Are you acting?
We are now going to the youth, showing this drama, and then saying to them, right, these are the facts in an animated way, in a fun way. Now you go back and make choices about your life.
This becomes a platform for people to discuss the prejudice and discrimination and to discuss the facts about HIV and AIDS.
The majority of people who are at risk of being infected are young girls between the ages of 12 to 29. It is a platform to actually open up and just talk about issues that we normally would not talk about. Like, no one wants to talk about sex. It is still a very taboo subject.
After the play, there was this session where they asked questions, and I could see that most of learners are sexually active.
After the drama, the learners now know that when you are being infected by HIV and AIDS, it doesn't mean that is death, and it doesn't mean that you cannot live amongst the other people.
Okay, guys, normally after the show we do questions and answers. Is there anything else that you want to understand or you don't understand in terms of HIV and AIDS? This is your opportunity now to ask questions.
Play is the icebreaker. It just opens the doors for dialogue. It opens the doors for discussion.
Because Khululeka opens up a sacred space for the youth to talk about their concerns and anxieties about HIV/AIDS, they feel free to then disclose their own status, their own fears about being infected with the disease.
Sometimes we get learners coming to us. It might be young girls. Some of them would tell us that they were raped. Some of them would tell us about their parents who are HIV positive. Some of them even confess that they're HIV positive.
They start breaking the silence, and that really is what Khululeka is all about, breaking the silence and starting to talk about this disease in a clear and candid way.
I have one learner who came to me and confessed that she is HIV positive, and for the first time. And then really I felt like I didn't do enough.
And so even the teachers say afterwards that after Khululeka has been there, it prepares the way for them to then address the issue of HIV/AIDS in a way that empowers them, because now everyone is talking about it freely. It encourages direct and honest communication.
After the play, we saw an emergence of the youngsters taking an initiative of going to the community, preaching the message of abstinence.
The message about Khululeka is very simple. Break the silence, talk about it, and know that it is in your hands.